All right, back on the morning drive with Chris Beckham on this Monday morning, brought to you by Valdosta Toyota. Also brought to you in part by State Farm. Hey, remember, 97% of people who have had claims with State Farm would recommend them without a doubt. That's a pretty high number. Call a local State Farm agent today or go to statefarm.com and get a better state with State Farm. Car insurance discounts up to 40% and a few $100 extra as well. Again, they'll give you the information about that. State Farm, proud members of the Morning Drive with Chris Beckham on this Monday morning. And I'll tell you what, if you are ready to get fired up, we're going to get your juices going on this Monday morning because a subject that we need to know more about because, quite frankly, it's going to hit us all in the pocketbook. Here with us this morning is Nolan Cox. Nolan, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you for being here with us. And Nolan, of course, you are the leader of our local Tea Party group, and you're pretty active with that group all over. As a matter of fact, you just got back from South Carolina, right?
Yes, we had a national conference up there, leadership training conference, practicing TV interviews, giving speeches. It's interesting. People say, "Well, I don't hear or see much of the Tea Party anymore." Well, when we started out, we was a mile wide and an inch deep. Now we're a mile deep and an inch wide, and we're having a major impact.
The reason that you're here this morning to talk about the T-splost issue, which I'm going to guess that most people, Nolan, when you tell people that, they may have a deer in the headlights look. Am I right?
Yeah, most people don't know what it is. Briefly, it's another 1% tax on all purchases, including food. Operates and collected just like a sales tax. Statewide, it'll be $18,666,000,000 if all the regions pass it. Today in Georgia, we're spending $1.9 billion per year on transportation. If we adopt this tax, it'll be an additional $1.86 billion for 10 years. It's a 96% increase in transportation spending. So it's the biggest tax increase that Georgia has faced in years.
So a big tax increase. So what do we get out of that?
Well,
not much.
You get we're going to get in this county, we're going to get back $162 million over a 10-year period. The problem is, Chris, is we're putting in $252 million, and we're losing roughly $90 million that we're donating to other counties. And people say, well, how'd that happen? Well, it's real simple. You go up there, you got 18 counties in our region. They each have 2 representatives. So you got 36 representatives arguing over what they need. And it's from each according to his ability, to each according to their need.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah. Who said, I say in my presentation, who said that? Well, it is a perfect Karl Marx program.
Wasn't Groucho Marx, but it was Karl Marx.
And I'm amazed that a Republican administration would come in and do a socialistic. There was, when everybody got up there, and they brag about this. Corey Hull, our regional planner, I went to a meeting he made to a Rotary Club the other day, and he said, we started out with over $2 billion worth of programs, and we narrowed it down to $670 million. So the point is, it'd be like you and 17 other people that I pick, and each one of you arguing about what kind of transportation you need for your family and how much it's going to cost, and with no way to measure anything.
So when we talk about transportation in our part of the state, we're talking about bridges, roads, just the normal kind of thing. But obviously, what you're saying is that the amount of money we were projected to spend on this, we're not going to get nearly, just a little over 50% of that back in our region. Am I right?
Yeah, you're going to get about 60%.
60%, okay.
Yeah.
So 40% just flies out the window, goes up to Atlanta.
No, it's going to other counties in our region. It stays in the region.
I see, okay.
And when I do a visual presentation, I show we have 11 recipient counties in our region, and 7 donor counties. Now, when I say a recipient county, they're getting out of it more than they're putting in.
Right.
For example, Coffee County's putting in $65 million, and they're getting back $104 million. Now, the interesting thing is I watched this thing all through the summer and worked with Larry Hansen, who was representing the city, and looked at the figures. The first time we went up to a meeting, we took $65 million worth of needs. We got up there and was overwhelmed by the $2.2 billion that everybody else wanted. So we come back home and add another $100 million just out of self-defense.
Right, sure. Because somebody else is going to ask for it.
Yeah, and if you don't ask for it, you don't get it. And then you become a bigger donor.
Okay, so you see there are 18 regions, am I right?
18 counties.
18 counties.
There's 12 regions in the state.
Okay.
18 counties in our region. Now, they say they set these regions up especially for this tax. Jimmy Carter set these regions up in the 70s for social service delivery regions. And they're the same regions that he set up in the 70s. So they tell you this is like a new concept.
Yeah.
Well, this bill was passed in 2009 for the first time. And then in 2010, they added the social service delivery organizations. Every social service delivery organization in Georgia has a seat on these committees. They make input to the governor's council on what they need. I'm talking about down to the scheduling on buses. How many buses? How many trains? How much rail? He then feeds that to the director of transportation that runs this whole thing throughout the state. And let me explain that to you briefly. The director of transportation sets the criteria. Now, I tell people this is like a buffet bar. He decides what's on the buffet.
Okay.
Then you get your tray and you go in and you put your projects in, and they go to Atlanta and he evaluates them, and then he says, yes, these can go on the list, or no, they can't go on the list.
Right.
So then you put the ones you want on your tray, and then they call it collaborates. He collaborates with you and tells you if your picks are okay.
I bet you have another word for it.
Yeah. Well, I tell people when I have a progress review with an employee, we're collaborating, but I'm running it.
That's right.
And I assure people I know this will work, because this is what I did with my teenagers when they were growing up. I said, look, you can do anything you want to do as long as I agree.
That's right. Now, so how do we, where do we go from here? How do we get out of this? Is there a way to correct it? I mean, what can citizens do to voice the disapproval, or just to, find out what's going to happen with it?
Well, this thing is going to be a real train wreck, and I'm going to explain to you why. But what we need to do is contact our local representatives, Amy Carter, Ellis Black, Tim Golden, Jason Shaw, and part of your listening area, and tell them, hey, we don't want this. We don't want another tax.
Right.
And an interesting thing, I went to a meeting that the local Chamber of Commerce had, and he said, well, we're already doing a 1% tax in the county, and when I was in there, we built everything we needed. That's $25 million a year in projects right there. Well, this other tax is going to be $25 million a year, but we're not going to get $25 million.
Right.
We're going to get about $18 million.
Right.
We're going to give away the rest of it. And
I don't think anybody should be in charge of us, or in favor of us losing $7 million to other counties when it's our money. I mean, fund your own.
The critical thing about government is when you're being managed and your money's being spent by somebody that's not elected, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
And it's just not a good concept of government to have 36 people making decisions and you can only fire 2 of them.
Yeah.
Now, I like Mitt Romney's word. I like to be able to fire an elected representative if they're not representing us.
So now, when will has this already been voted on, or are they considering it now, or where are we at?
The public is going to vote on the referendum. All these projects are already put together, and the public is going to vote, I think, the 31st of August in the primary on whether they want to enact the tax to do the specific projects listed.
Right.
And they make a big deal about, it's guaranteed that your money in the region is going to stay in the region.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's not guaranteed is that other 1.9 billion in the state that we've been getting part of on regular transportation projects. They don't guarantee that.
Right.
In essence, bottom line, what we're doing is assuming the state and federal highway responsibility in our region. 40% of the projects listed in our regions are either state roads or U.S. highways or interstate ramps.
Gotcha.
So what we're doing is assuming their responsibility, and and it's foolish to do that. We're already paying fuel and income taxes, state and federal, for this.
And let me ask you, what's the biggest difference in our counties? Do you have the list of counties that are in our area?
Yeah.
You shout those out for me real quick. Who all's in our region?
Atkinson, Bacon, Ben Hill, Berrien, Brantley, Brooks, Charlton, Clinch, Coffee, Cook, Eccles, Irwin, Lanier, Lowndes, Pierce, Tift, Turner, and Ware.
The reason I ask you that, of those, I think I'm right, only 4 of those counties that you mentioned have Interstate 75 which go through them, which leads you to believe when we talk about tax money that comes in, they're going to get more that come in from those other counties. You're talking about Lowndes, Cook, Tift, and Turner are the 4 counties on I-75.
Yeah. And interesting, if you look up interstate, Tift County right above us, Cook County, which is right above us, they're putting in $21 million and getting back 10. They don't even get back half of what they put in.
I would imagine all 4 of those counties are going to be in that same boat. Yeah.
Tift County puts in $94 million and gets back $79 million.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Lowndes County puts in $252 million and gets back $162 million.
Yeah, so we're taking the biggest loss.
Yeah, we're a $90 million whammy.
Yeah, that's just not a good system. Like you said, it's just it goes against what we talk about. This country's built on. It goes against that.
Yeah, and I said, well, this is ridiculous. And they said, well, if we do it by regions, we can cooperate on road building. Well, we haven't had a region since this state was developed, and all of our roads run through regions. That's the lamest excuse I've ever heard.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, Nolan. I'm glad you're on it and kind of being the watchdog for this. But again, we can activate our communities to contact the legislature and say no. On August the 31st, vote no.
Well, think about this thing, and I have gone through my presentation with our local representatives, and it's about a 45 minute with a lot of data on what's going on, how it's going on, but they didn't have any idea this was a 96% increase in taxes.
Now let me ask you, or is that presentation, is that if folks want to get more information, do you do that to, say, civic groups or whatnot, or can they come to a Tea Party meeting? Or
I'm going to present it to the Lowndes County Republican Party. That's the third. And in February, I'm going to present it to them. And I'm going to try to get people who want to get up on the learning curve about what this is about, come to that meeting. I have asked the Chamber of Commerce, who has always supported every splost we've had, and they won't commit to me where they'll let me present it to their board of directors. But this thing is being driven statewide by the chambers.
Mm-hmm.
And
by the state chamber of commerce or by the local chambers?
Both.
Okay. That's and again, just let people make up their own minds.
Yeah.
Just let them take a look at the information that's there.
That's right. That's what I want to do, is look at the facts. And I say this in my presentation: to make good decisions, you got to have good information.
That's right.
You can't make a decision with just half of the information. You need to get all you can get before you make a decision.
Is there a website or something, or can folks contact you to get some more of this information?
Yeah, the ValdostaTeaParty.com.
Okay.
I'm going to have I don't know if it's on there yet or not, but I will have my presentation on there, and you can go to it and watch it.
let us know when that is, and we'll let
Yeah.
everybody know. That's a good way to maybe get some more of that information.
But I think the slides are on there now, but the audio isn't.
Okay, well, at least we have the slides. Let me ask you real quick. Well, we got a couple of minutes left. You were in South Carolina. You watched the debates the other night.
Yes, I did.
What'd you think of it, and what'd you think of what happened this weekend?
Well, it was interesting. I didn't go to sleep. The two previous debates, I went to sleep before they were over.
You are not alone, my friend. You're not alone.
But I heard you talking, and my sentiments are just like yours. You need to get a candidate up there, give him 20 or 30 minutes to explain what he believes, why he believes it, and what he's going to do. Asking these gotcha questions, I'm not a Gingrich supporter, but I thought it was horrible what they did to him in that debate. Mm. They've done it to Ron Paul. They've done it to everybody.
All of them, yeah. Because they'll ask him a long question. Say, okay, you got 1 minute. Well, you can't answer that in 1 minute. Yeah.
So I think the Republicans agreeing to do this, somebody needs to intervene in what's going on.
Yeah.
And the moderators, I hate to say it, but we know that the media is generally liberal. And what America doesn't realize is they are picking our candidates by who they talk to.
Yeah. And yeah, I think there's some truth to that, and I think, of course, the higher polling somebody gets. I mean, they're talking to Gingrich more now than they did 3 weeks ago because he's polling better. But it's let me ask you, Valdosta Tea Party, will you guys endorse a candidate?
No.
Okay, all right.
Not till after the primaries.
Yeah, and I know who you're going to endorse then. So, listen, Nolan, thanks so much for the information. Again, Valdosta teaparty.com.
Yeah.
Got some of the slides there, and you can contact Nolan there as well. And if you are interested in finding out more information, I'm sure he'd love to share it with you so you can have more information and keep some of this money here in our county, not just give it away to somebody else.
Yeah. We need to get informed on this one because we're really restructuring government, going to a regional government and a regional social services delivery system. And one of the biggest problems in our state right now is we're pulling money out of transportation and have been. The legislators will tell you this. For 10, 15 years, we've been pulling money out of transportation and putting it in education and social services.
Yeah, and that's not the way to do it. Can't rob Peter to pay Paul.
Right.
So, Nolan, thank you. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
We'll take a break and come right back. More of the Morning Drive right after this on News Talk 105.9. This is WVGA.